to our rich rainforest, in a land flowing with oil and gold. Hear the clatter of groundnuts, hear the whispering palms, see the towering cocoa trees. We are Nigeria.
Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on Enter International. My name is Justin Bemuyan. Here are the top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari arrives Japan ahead of TICAD 7 conference to present Nigeria's position. Nigeria canvasses diplomatic and operational strategies to improve regional economy. Plus, a federal high court dismisses suit challenging APC intention to adopt indirect primary to elect its gubernatorial candidate in Kogi State. Thank you very much for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari is in Yokohama, Japan, ahead of the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 7. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president is attending the conference for the second time, having participated in TICAD 6, hosted by Kenya in Nairobi 2016.
Accompanied by the governors of Borno, Kwara and Lagos states, arrived Hanade International Airport, Japan at about 8 o'clock Monday evening local time. On hand to accord him a befitting welcome was a high-powered Japanese government delegation led by a special TICAD envoy, the Nigerian ambassador to Japan, Professor Muhammad Gana-Isa, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama. President Buhari is expected to join other Japanese and African leaders, international organizations, private companies, and civil society organizations at TICAD 7 to be hosted by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. It has as its theme Africa and Yokohama sharing passion for the future.
TICAD is about African development, collaborating with Japan. Therefore, if there's so much development deficit in Nigeria and we find a country like Japan wanting to help Africa, Nigeria should then just benefit from that kind of initiative. So it's very important for President Buhari to be here. In fact, I think any African leader who is not here is dealing his country a bad card.
He's expected to address the conference at plenary on Thursday.
Yes.
What will he be telling participants?
Well, he first is going to review TICAD 6 and the advantages Nigeria has got, and then lay an agenda on the table on what can be done for Nigeria particularly during and after TICAD 7. If you look at TICAD 6, 30 billion was advanced to Africa. And then there were some others apart from that, another 20 billion, another 500 billion and all that. So it's open for whichever country is interested.
Formed in 1993, TICAD provides an open forum that generates innovative discussions amongst various stakeholders on African development.
I'm more concerned about where I have comparative advantage, which is agriculture. And agriculture here is well advanced, and there is so much that we can tap to benefit our people back home. Well, right from the inception, we never objected to it. We already have a law in place, so where people are free to come and do their ranching, and we are also going to embrace the federal government program based on our law. So we are not rejecting it.
The Nigerian leader will also attend some side events and meet chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with huge investments in Nigeria. Since the Nairobi conference, otherwise called TICAD 6 in 2016, Japanese government and companies have been very active in supporting Nigeria's agriculture, healthcare, power supply, and youth empowerment. Here in Yokohama, President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to push for broader Japanese assistance in science and technology, innovation, human resource development, and other areas critical to the economy of the country. From Japan, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB group, has nothing to do with President Muhammadu Buhari since he arrived Yokohama, Japan on Monday. In a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina urges Nigerians at home and in the diaspora to disregard concocted stories backed with spurious visuals of any protest or harassment of the president and his team. Adesina maintains that it is the stock in trade of hate mongers who do not realize that the rest of Nigerians have left them far behind. President Buhari will make his presence at the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 7, count for Nigeria, and no scaremongering will detract from the outing. Nigeria is spearheading adoption of common political, diplomatic and operational strategies for African countries to positively impact on the economy of the sub-region. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi at the opening of West and Central Africa sub-region in Abuja feels that is the way to go. Oyinaya Kaluoka reports.
Currency adjustments, congestion surcharge or war risk surcharge are maritime jargons referring to additional charge or payment which key players in the sector said has become a major challenge hindering the development of the maritime industry in African countries. Increase Uche is one of the participants from 13 West and Central African countries attending the Maritime Summit. He laments on how these problems have led to low trade among African countries.
There is no businessman that will encounter losses and still remain in business. So the impact is enormous.
It's also important that we come together in order to tackle this situation. If we don't, the spiraling cost of transport costs is threatening the national economies of our respective countries.
Presenting the Vice President's message, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi charged African countries to unite in checking the trend, pointing out measures Nigerian government have put in place to address some of the challenges.
In 2018, Nigerian Shippers Council harmonized the tariff nomenclature for local shipping charges in Nigeria, established a sustainable framework for future review of tariffs, and establish standards of service for all container terminals in Nigeria.
The summit is seen as a major step towards addressing the issue of surcharges in African seaports, as experts from the Global Shippers Forum and the Union of African Shippers Council brainstorm to come up with suggestions. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Science and Technology has set in motion activities to drive the target of its policies, which will be channeled towards ensuring that the objectives of the present administration to grow the economy, have a transparent administration and secure the nation are achieved. Dr. Ogbonnaya and the Minister of State, Mohammed Abdullahi, in a meeting with supervising directors of the ministry and directors general of agencies under it, rolled out this new policy thrust as contribution to nation building. The ministry, now lucky to have 2 ministers to oversee its affairs, they pointed out, underscores the focus of the federal government in terms of science, technology and innovation.
The focus of the federal government, I think, is to see how this ministry can drive the process of innovations and technology-driven economy. The world over, everyone knows it is technology that drives economies of most nation states. It is technology that drives the security and welfare of most nation states. So we are in a vantage position to leverage on this understanding and ensure that this ministry takes its rightful place in the Committee of Ministries.
The President also promised that we will be able to move 100 million people out of poverty in the next 10 years. This is a promise that the President made, and this is a promise that he will keep. And the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology will make very important contributions in ensuring that this promise is realized.
That it was imperative for the ministry to exercise oversight in other ministries to ensure that there is harmonization, coordination, and a well-directed focus on energy to be championed by the ministry. It is just 3 days to the APC party primaries for Kogi and Bayelsa states. Amiogidi takes us Festus Okoye, the INEC National Commissioner for Information and Voter Education.
This week, all the non-sensitive materials for the conduct of elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states will be in those states. And in relation to the sensitive materials, we are also working on the sensitive materials. And we are going to make sure that all the sensitive materials arrive all these states on time. For Kogi State, we are going to have and train at least 16,139 election officials for the conduct of the elections. And for Bayelsa, we are going to train nothing less than 10,063 election officers to conduct the elections in Bayelsa. And for Bayelsa State, you know that almost 5 of the local governments are riverine. So we are also making arrangements for the hiring of gunboats that will protect our election officials and our election materials on the high seas. We are going to transmit the results of the elections in Kogi and in Bayelsa states manually in accordance with the provisions of the law.
In the meantime, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja this Monday dismissed a suit challenging the decision of the All Progressives Congress to adopt indirect primary for nominating its candidate for the forthcoming November 16, 2019 governorship election in Kogi State. The presiding judge, Justice Taiwo Taiwo, who gave the ruling, upheld the preliminary objections filed by the APC challenging the suit. The court was of the opinion that the suit has been statute barred, hence the court lacked jurisdiction. Justice Taiwo Taiwo also dismissed the suit against Abdullahi Bello-led Kogi State APC Executive Committee. The role of investigators and prosecutors in combating crimes and ensuring speedy justice delivery has again been on the spotlight as the National Judicial Institute organized a training with emphasis on interagency synergy in order to promote efficiency in the justice sector.
It is often said that for a society to understand criminality and abate its wave, there is need for interrelationship between all parts of the criminal justice sector. To fully realize this in Nigeria, investigators and prosecutors, not only from the criminal justice sector, but also the military, paramilitary, and other agencies have been brought together by the National Judicial Institute to brainstorm and come up with strategies that will enhance output. Focus here is on cooperation between prosecutors and investigators to influence law enforcement in the reduction and prevention of crimes in the country.
The prosecutor relies absolutely on the information of the investigator, so they work hand in hand.
Nigerians will expect to see a new investigators and prosecutors to bring to justice those who are actually prone to crime, and also those who are innocent will be made to let loose from the hook.
It's important that all agencies involved in investigation and prosecution get to synergize and we share ideas and information.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. The news continues in just a moment.
Hey, you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in day your mind, Abi. The person where then go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Oga Legova, Mr. Sabi. And you know if you carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We Sabi say Peking go crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Serie A and La Liga matches live. Go for GoTV Max.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
You're welcome back. Now let's turn to agriculture, where the federal government says it will not hesitate to delist and prosecute any person or company found guilty of production and marketing of fake and substandard seeds to farmers. To this end, the National Agricultural Seeds Council of Nigeria has commenced sensitization of farmers and seeds merchants on relevant laws guiding seeds business in Nigeria. Musa Babali reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari recently assented to a bill by the 8th Assembly on production and distribution of seeds in the country. The Seed Act gives room for private sector participation in the production, distribution, and marketing of seeds and seedlings nationwide. Under the new law, any seed dealer that defaults in the standard of seeds or seedlings in the country risks 10 years imprisonment or pays 3 million naira as fine.
So we are out that there is in Nigeria's seed market, you should not see bad and adulterated seed again. So that farmers that go to the market to buy seed is sure that is obtaining quality seed for planting on his field.
The Seed Council of Nigeria is saddled with the responsibility of regulating seeds and seedlings and to ensure and eliminate adulterated seeds. It is in the light of this that the Council commenced sensitization of farmers and seed producers on the new law.
This sensitization exercise that is taking place now is a welcome development both to Nigeria, not only Nigeria, but West Africa.
The law is to sustain Nigeria's position as the largest producer and supplier of seeds across West African sub-region. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In a bid to provide digital life for all Nigerians, NTA Star Times is rewarding viewers who participated in the 2-month basic bouquet raffle draw with a cash prize of 50,000 naira. Momso Damon Dati was there and has the details.
Alaba Aliyu, a mother of 2 children and a resident of Abuja, has just received a surprise phone call from Star Times inviting her to come and claim a cash prize of 50,000 naira. Though finding it difficult to believe, all the same, she's here to verify. True, she meets other recipients who also got the surprise packages.
Stand up for the champions, for the champions.
I saw an advert on TV to recharge for 2 months, then I did that. 2 pieces coming up at least, so you go for that.
I received a call from their customer care in Lagos that I'm one of the lucky winners of 50,000 naira cash. I said, wow. I didn't believe it because we know what is going on in the country. And that is it. And here am I. The program is for kids, and so you have to go especially for them too. And I wish they should keep it up.
That is the reward awaiting subscribers who choose to use Star Times and participate in the ongoing 2-month bouquet raffle draw.
Once you recharge 2-month basic bouquet, you automatically qualify for the promo. This promo is meant for kiddie channels, so to encourage kids at home to watch our content, kiddie content, Jim Jam, and so on, so that within the period of the holiday, our kids at home will not be bored, so to say. Of course, for them to support their children's school fees, maybe, okay, some of them, maybe their kids are in boarding school. Of course, with 50,000 naira, at least you'll be able to do 1 or 2 things. You know, and if you're lucky, you can win as many times as possible.
Other packages, including children's school packs, among other goodies, are awaiting to be won. Mamso Damien Ati, NTA News.
And now for stories trending in the financial sector, over to Musa Babaliu.
Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says the country's economy has recorded consecutive growth in the last 4 years. To further grow the economy, in addition to focusing on the Economic Recovery Growth Plan, the minister says linking budget with plans will be prioritized to mitigate infrastructure deficit.
The borrowing level has reduced slightly, but when you look at the one that we're working on now, it is still further reduced. Our debt to revenue ratio is a very healthy one, but because revenues are underperforming, to the extent that 2018 revenue closed at 55%, we're under a very significant fiscal strain.
In the meantime, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nononu, says the government will strengthen the agri-research institutes to enhance growth in the agricultural sector of the economy. The minister says the government's agenda is to refocus on making the agricultural sector the hub of economic growth in Nigeria.
It's something that is very crucial to this country, and it's something that is very important to our internal security. And whatever we do to promote that is absolutely necessary.
And the Nigerian stock market closed flat this Monday at minus 95.31, representing 0.34% loss. Musa Baba Aliyu, Business News.
And next, Ilyas Wali Yakubu is our guide on stories on the foreign scene.
Glad to have you join me on this segment of the news. The Democratic Republic of Congo has announced a coalition government 7 months after the inauguration of President Felix Tshisekedi. Mr. Tshisekedi won the bitterly contested election in December, marking the first peaceful transition of power since DR Congo gained independence from Belgium in 1960. Since coming to power, President Tshisekedi has agreed to work with the party of former President Joseph Kabila. He said, and I quote, "The government is finally here. The president has signed the decree and we will begin work soon." A state of emergency has been declared in Sudan's Red Sea states after ethnic violence left at least 16 people dead. The country's new entering government has also dismissed the governor of the eastern state and the regional security chief. It is not clear what caused the clashes, which raged between the Bani army and Nuba groups in the Port Sudan. Sudan has recently emerged from a month of turmoil with a power-sharing agreement between civilians and the military, following the ousting of its long-time leader, Omar al-Bashir. A Hong Kong police officer fired a gunshot during protests on Sunday, the first time a live round has been used since demonstration broke out in June. Images show several other officers also pointed guns at protesters who were charging at them with sticks and poles. That's it on the segment. My name is Ilyasu Ali Yakubu. The news continues.
And now talking sports, the International Tennis Federation announces dates for the 2019 Lagos Tennis Open Championship. Olumide Oguntola has these and latest results from the ongoing African Games in Morocco.
In basketball, Nigeria defeated Mali 21-20 to win the gold medal of the 3-on-3 women basketball event.